Hey everybody, and welcome back to Bible Time. In this video, I'm going to be reading from Revelation chapter 20, and I'm going to read the whole chapter. The 1,000 years. I saw an angel come down from heaven, carrying the key to the deep pit and a big chain. He chained the dragon for 1,000 years. It is that old snake, who is also known as the devil and Satan. Then the angel threw the dragon into the pit. He locked and sealed it, so that 1,000 years would go by before the dragon could fool the nations again. But after that, it would have to be set free for a little while. I saw thrones, and sitting on those thrones were the ones who had been given the right to judge. I also saw the souls of the people who had their heads cut off because they had told about Jesus and preached God's message. They were the same ones who had not worshipped the beast or the idol, and they had refused to let its mark be put on their hands or foreheads. They will come to life and rule with Christ, and they will come to life and rule with Christ for 1,000 years. These people are the first to be raised to life, and they are especially blessed and holy. The second death has no power over them. They will be priests for God and Christ and will rule with them for 1,000 years. Let me reread that again. They will be priests for God and Christ and will rule with them for 1,000 years. No other dead people were raised to life until 1,000 years later. And the defeat of Satan. At the end of the 1,000 years, Satan will be set free. He will fool the countries of Gog and Magog, which are at the far ends of the earth, and their people will follow him into battle. They will have as many followers as there are grains of sand along the beach. They will march all the way across the earth. They will surround the camp of God's people and the city that his people love. But fire will come down from heaven and destroy the whole army. Then the devil who fooled them will be thrown into the lake of fire and burning sulfur. He will be there with the beast and the false prophet, and they will be in pain day and night forever and ever. And then judgment before the great white throne. I saw a great white throne with someone sitting on it. Earth and heaven tried to run away, but there was no place for them to go. I also saw all the dead people standing in front of that throne. Every one of them was there, no matter who they had once been. Several books were opened, and then the book of life was opened. The dead were judged by what those books said they had done. The sea gave up the dead people who were in it, and death and its kingdom also gave up their dead. Then everyone was judged by what they had done. Afterwards, death and its kingdom were thrown into the lake of fire. This is the second death. Anyone whose name wasn't written in the book of life was thrown into the lake of fire. Now, there's a lot that I want to talk about that I'm not going to talk about in this video because it's just too much, and I want to gather more of my thoughts before I make a presentation. But I just want to say that don't ask me how this happened, but I was watching a video and I somehow accidentally tumbled down the rabbit hole of partial preterism. And I gotta say, my mind has never been so blown in my life, and how compelling this is. So if any of you out there are wondering what the heck that is, because I had no idea what it was either, it is where they believe that basically most of the Bible is already been, the prophecies, and most of the prophecies in the Bible have been fulfilled, except for the last 3 chapters of Revelation. And I believe, okay, so that makes sense. So there's chapter 20 here, right? 21 and 22. There's 22 chapters in the book of Revelation. So the belief is, in partial preterism, is that the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ already happened. that sometime after the destruction of Rome, the destruction of the Jewish temple in AD 70, Jesus Christ returned sometime after that. And he reigned for 1,000 years. And there's so much more to this. And it gets really crazy. And there's so many questions that have been answered, but not by me personally. I've been watching some of these videos. But basically, in a nutshell, because I don't want this to get, I can't do this video right now. But there was a mass cover up after Jesus Christ's 1,000-year reign came to an end. There was a mass cover up after he left, and the mass cover up was done by the evil powers that be that are in charge, whether it be the Masonic Brotherhood or the Illuminati. But this one podcaster that I watch, he brought up really good points with old pictures from like I don't know if it was the 1930s or 1940s, with tons of orphans, and there was tons and tons of insane asylums. And the belief is that, well, the questions were, why were there so many orphans? Why were there so many insane asylums? And they suggested that perhaps they were filled with people that were from the 1,000-year reign of Christ, and they needed to be shut up to basically stifle this truth, to hide this, to deceive people. Because it is also believed that during the time of deception, when Satan is set free, it says here, at the end of the 1,000 years that Jesus Christ reigned in his kingdom on earth, after that 1,000-year reign, Satan will be set free. He will fool the countries of Gog and Magog, but he's also going to fool all the nations. And part of being fooled is not knowing that you're what's going on. Then there's so much more to talk about. After thinking, there's so many archaeological finds that I've been watching, and I'm going to want to piece in these videos together and showing you some of these clips, but there's been a lot of archaeological finds that are just very suspicious, and they don't make any sense unless you take on this belief. Buried cities, buried buildings, buried pillars, the churches that were the churches that were written letters to in the book of Revelation, they were all ruins, all destroyed, to basically state that the judgments that they were warned about already took place. They already happened. These churches aren't in existence anymore. What else was there? Technology. One thing that stuck out to me was in the book of Ecclesiastes, which I shared this morning. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9 to 11. Everything that happens has happened before. Nothing is new. Nothing under the sun. Someone might say, here is something new, but it happened before, long before we were born. No one who lived in the past is remembered anymore, and everyone yet to be born will be forgotten too. And I want to emphasize that the first verse there, everything that happens has happened before. Nothing is new, nothing under the sun. Yet for some reason we think that in this generation we're like the greatest, we're the GOAT, we're the greatest of all time. Yes, we're just a bunch of brainiacs in this modern generation. That we're to believe that the earth has existed for trillions of years, but only in the last 200 years would have all these computers and stuff, and that this technology didn't exist before. I dare believe that it did exist, and that it very much existed, especially during the millennial reign, the 1,000-year reign of Jesus Christ, but that all this stuff was hidden. Why? I don't know. I don't have all the answers. But if I had to guess, it's because they had to create a new history. And none of it makes any sense. If you the science fiction books that were put out many years ago, the science fiction movies, everything that hints towards what's going on now with technology, was everyone a prophet? I mean, there's different things that suggest that this technology already existed and was being hidden or veiled from society, from the general public, until they were ready for it. But now I just took us down a really deep rabbit hole, and I don't want this video to get any longer because I want to gather more of my thoughts, and I want to put together some things to show you in a video to follow this. Just to kind of I just want to get you thinking. Now, as the one podcaster said, this is a timeline that we're talking about here. This has no bearing on your salvation, whether you're aware of this or not, whether this is true or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you believe that we're in the short season that Satan is let loose to deceive the nations, or if you believe that we haven't yet gotten to the tribulation and all that. The Lord is not concerned with that as far as your salvation goes. You know, if you placed your faith in Jesus Christ and you're following and obeying Him, then you are saved. But why would it be important to know the truth, to know what exactly happened? Well, it kind of explains some of the mysteries of Scripture that just didn't seem to add up or make sense. Secondly, with rumors of possibly with the use of Project Bluebeam and mimicking a second coming of Christ, if we already know that that the second coming of Christ already happened, then we know that this is not really going to be taking place. So anyways, but I want to clarify though, before I end this video. Let me go back to Revelation chapter 20. Because there's a lot of confusion between partial preterism and full preterism. So the full preterist believes that the entire Bible was already fulfilled, all the prophecies. But that's not true for partial preterism. For example, we haven't even finished this part here. So the partial preterist believes that we are currently in the 1,000 years where Satan is loosed, and he's in the process of deceiving all the nations. And we haven't reached the end of that yet, because at the end of that is when God destroys the army that Satan gathers up, and then he throws the devil into the lake of fire and burning sulfur. And then after that is the judgment before the great white throne, which, again, the partial preterist does not believe that has happened yet. That is still in the future. and so is Revelation 21 and 22. That stuff has not happened yet. So anyways, comment down below. I hope I don't sound completely crazy. I do want to I want to bring in some more things to present to you all so that you can see this, because this is really very fascinating. And this can blow the lid off a lot of things. There is so much to support this doctrine, this belief. Very fascinating stuff. Anyways, I want to thank you for joining me, and I look forward to you joining me on the next one. God bless you guys, and have a good night.